From impromptu photo shoots on the hood of my car to just hanging out at the park with the gang, JoJo was one of us. We brought our boards to the park. He brought cigars. JoJo did not skateboard. We never knew.
Still pushing. I loved the way that the filmmakers did this. One of the things that stood out to me that I thought was so clever was the way that they edited this. It had such a nice flow to it, and it seemed like it was constantly moving. So you never got bored. You never were like, oh my gosh, we're on the same shot for too long. They really did a great job with that. And I loved the use of the old footage and the photographs, the way that they introduced the gang of friends and skateboarders, how they gave each one their own separate card, and they made it very fun and funny. I think that the VO was done really, really well. That was a great job. And I loved watching all of the tricks on the skateboards. It was so cool. Yeah, nice job.
Still pushing. I loved this piece. It really transported me back to my youth, and I would be hanging out at the skate park too. And it's so lovely to have this time capsule just brimming with nostalgia of who people were and just those little stolen moments. And it really transports us and immerses us into that place, into the feeling of possibility, of comfort, of freedom to be yourself, of that unbridled time to explore and joke. And the ephemerality of that was really captured. And I think that the sacredness of youth and how those places can't really be recreated when you're older. There's just something about it. And I love that they all got the little title cards, felt that they were the stars of that time of their life, and everybody almost got like their player card or it felt like a real skate team, and that was pretty epic. I loved how this was compiled, really nice organic storytelling throughout the piece, had that raw energy to it, but was really professionally done. And everything from the soundscape to the editing, and I thought that the narration was a really nice touch to connect us to the narrator, to the film, the person creating the film, and also to have that almost diary-esque aspect, which harkens back to youth as well.
Still pushing. Alright, man, this was a very fun documentary. I never did skateboard, but I remember people who skateboard back in the 2000s and late 90s. And well, as the filmmaker said, this comes from a place of nostalgic, and you get to experience that. You get to feel what the filmmaker feels by presenting his old gang, his old adventures as a teenager, doing skateboard and failing to do some movements and all. I think that even though it's a film about skateboarding, it goes way beyond that, and it explores the amazing journey that it was to be a teenager back in the late 2000s, which is the time I was a teenager too. I miss that. This film made me nostalgic. And yes, the dynamic between him, his friends is quite, silly but fun and lovely. I like it very much. I think that this film is a bit personal, but it has a lot of heart, and it has a couple of subjects that people can relate, even if you just seen the filmmaker's friends doing skateboarding. I also like the message of working hard, because skateboarding is an incredible sport. It's very wild what some people are able to do with a skateboard, and I think that people who do skateboarding get this discipline to trying to be better, like they work hard to pull out these amazing tricks and they fall over again, but after a lot of time and after a lot of effort they're able to do these amazing stunts. That gave them discipline. I think that's something very good to learn while you're growing up. So yes, it was a very interesting experience. Thank you very much for saying it.
Still pushing is nostalgic. It makes you think about earlier times before technology had developed in the ways that it had developed. It made me think of my own childhood, as someone who grew up around skaters. I had my own little stoop, that record shop doesn't even exist anymore. So being able to see this bare and empty skate park just gets you on another level. I found myself thinking about my chosen family and my friends. I have a Mikey myself, so it really made me feel grateful and appreciative of those experiences that I got to live. And what's so beautiful about this is that you had these group of friends and a couple of them were passionate with the camera to be able to have these cuts and pieces of their history and to be reflective on it. I think the filmmaker did a really nice job in building the aesthetics and sound and tone. Like, you really get a nice vibe of who these people are, and you get to have these little slides of info about them. We get to dive deeper. We get to see who they are through their experiences. I really loved the character that we got to see, where he's showing up in all of these different outfits and he's one of the guys. It was one of those things of, it was really nice to see the reflection of self-history and this appreciation of the story. I was really engaged. I was zoned in. I found myself, if anything was distracting me, I found myself hitting that pause button because I didn't want to miss a thing at all. That's how invested I was in this story. And it takes a lot for me, someone like me who has a lot of things going on at once, a lot of things going on here in my brain, for a story to get that much of my focus and that much of my attention to want to pause a movie is a compliment in itself.